Land podcast with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Nick Paulus.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to this another edition or new edition of the Voice of the Land show, as we are calling it now. We want to welcome all of you big play content viewers into our show, into our home, as we are so honored to now be a part of the Big Play Network. I am one of the hosts, Kevin Arnold. Alongside me, as always, each and every week, Sundays at 7 here on Big Play, and, of course, the VTL_pod Twitter page as well. My brother, Nick Paulus, sporting his great Browns gear after a great Browns win as well. And behind the proverbial glass, our producer extraordinaire, who you won't see on camera, but you will hear his voice, as we have three voices on this podcast or show. Peter Telep. Guys, how excited are you for this new venture and to be partnered with Big Play moving forward? Paulus, I'll start with you, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll take over right now, and I just can't wait. We're going to crack this bad boy open. We're going to have a good night tonight.
Yeah.
4-1 with the Browns. Just to get this venture off, out here, for our very first live show. Can't believe it's happening. It's been 2 years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for it. We started back at the Ohio Media School in a little podcasting room, and it's growing. So I can't wait to get this one started. But tonight, the Browns 4-1. Game literally just ended. First time since 1994 since they've been 4-1. First time since 1968 that they've scored 4 straight games of 30 points or more. That year they had 7. So just throw that out there.
Got 3 more to get. Got 3 more to get. That's all right.
They look pretty good, too.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be okay, but I can't wait to get this started. This show is going to be fantastic, so please tune in, everyone. I'm retweeting everything out right now, so please follow us. Comment with us. We're going to have a good night tonight. Peter, how you feeling tonight?
I'm nervous because I'm in charge of all the technical stuff here, so I'm trying to make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. So it's which is weird because I'm used to doing live production.
Yeah,
it's just this is a whole different kind of setup. So, so far so good. We'll knock on wood, and I hope we entertain everyone that's listening and watching.
Absolutely.
And those already tuning in, because you do have notifications turned on for Big Play Network social media sites when shows go live. Just want to give you a little bit of background here on Voice of the Land. Paulus and I started this just 2 years ago, almost 2 years. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary here towards the end of November. And we started it as Ohio Media School students who are aspiring broadcasters, aspiring social media or radio show hosts, whichever way it's going to go. Podcasts are out there. All this digital content is out there. So there's so many different avenues to get your own content, your own thoughts and sports takes out there. And we decided to go the podcast route to build a live resume, if you will, a recorded resume until now, which has now become a live resume for everyone to watch. And we started in just a very small student recording studio that they have there. They have about I want to say 15 or 16 recording studios for you to kind of work on your own content, get your classwork done at the Ohio Media School, and we appreciate everything that they did for us and allowed us to continue to go back there after we graduated. And Paulus and I kind of ran through a few trial runs as it were, and then we finally got things going at the end of November. And we were just talking before we came on. We ran through so many podcasts where we actually did our takes before we started recording on the mics, and we learned save all of those thoughts to allow them to actually come through a recording mic. And it took us a few weeks, but we came up with the name Voice of the Land when former coach of the Cavs, or voice of the Cavs as he wanted to be called, Larry Drew, and that was a conversation we had for the first few episodes at that time back in 2018. And when he did that, and we just started talking about it so much, we figured, who better to be the voice of the land, voice of realism, and giving reality checks as Cleveland fans ourselves, but making sure we look at it from as unbiased as we can. Who better to be a voice of the land than Paulus and myself? And then through LinkedIn, through our promotion, we connected with Peter. And of course, we are also not just partnered with Big Play Network, but we are also partnered with LPV Productions and by web streaming studio by LPV Productions, of course, as we always say at the beginning of the podcast, which you can still find on all the podcasting platforms. So if you can't tune in live Sundays at 7 or after the Browns game ends, we get to literally react live to the Browns game. This is just insane here tonight. But you can always tune into Google, Spotify, and Apple. Find us on Twitter at VTL_pod, at CLE_Paulus, at Kevin and 7, because you know I always come through in the clutch when it matters most. And, of course, you can find LPV Productions on all social media sites as well. We also have a Facebook page at Voice of the Land and a YouTube channel at Voice of the Land Podcast where you can find all of that content. I know we're a show, but you know, it's still going to be a podcast
of course.
At times. You know, it's going to have those.
We're still going to promote it, you know, just the same. I mean, we're not doing anything different.
No.
We got here for doing some really good stuff.
Yes.
So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah. And we want to thank again Dave over at Big Play.
Absolutely. Shout out. Thank you, Dave.
For the connection there. So we are so
and believing in us. Honestly, like if Dave said, no, you guys suck, you know, like where would we be at? We have no idea. But I think we're doing a pretty damn good job. And it's only starting. It's only the beginning.
Yes.
So,
only the beginning.
Yes.
And here's to many more new beginnings together as we go through. And to all of you tuning in, we thank you so much for tuning in. We also want to thank our sponsor for, well, we're on season 4, but our first official Big Play episode here for Voice of the Land, DP Construction LLC. You can reach out to them at 330-217-4999. That is 330-217-4999 for all your concrete construction needs. And find them on Facebook as well at DP Construction LLC. Some beautiful, beautiful pictures of the work that they've already done. Uncle Steve doing a lot of the work.
Uncle Steve, shout out.
And friend of podcast and fellow member of the fantasy league that Paulus and I find ourselves in, the League of Ordinary Gentlemen. And I know that Paulus does a podcast with this man as well. Tyler LaFrada, thank you so much for your sponsorship and your support of Voice of the Land as well. For everybody that has supported us up until this point and will continue to do so, and the new people that join in, we can't thank you enough. We can't get where we go without all of you. And we say at the end of the podcast all the time, I'll say it now and I'll say it later. We truly love you all 3,000. We are big Marvel fans.
Yes.
But we honestly mean we love you all 3,000. We can't be more excited to get this going. And what better way to get this going than after a Cleveland Browns victory 4 in a row, and we get 4 straight victory Mondays. Paulus, we got to watch the second half together, which was an awesome experience as well before we came on. I mean, just your overall thoughts. We are a 4-1 team. I know people were downplaying the first 3 wins because, you know, you beat Washington football team, you beat the Bengals, and you beat Dallas Cowboys, who have not been playing very well. Thoughts and prayers out to Dak Prescott, by the way, who will undergo ankle surgery. I know that the video is out there.
I'm not taking a look at that. No. I
I
heard his ankle exploded. I'm going to pass on that one.
I'm going to take the advice of medical professionals through actually here in studio with us, your wife Kelly and my girlfriend Jana. You know, they said that the video looked bad, and when I hear that, I get very squeamish, so I'm not going to watch that. But true prayers out to Dak Prescott on his recovery, as I know that was a bad incident there. But people downplaying the Browns because they didn't beat teams with winning records. You just beat a 3-1 team with the number 1 defense through the first quarter of the NFL season. Paulus, you got to be flying high right now.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I am thrilled by the way that they executed the game plan. Whenever the game started, I'm all about the running. You guys will understand about me. I'm all about the offensive line and running the ball because I think that's how Cleveland should be built. We had Jim Brown here for a reason. Jim Brown is the greatest player of all time in you could go any sport, honestly. He was that dominant at his position back in the day. We're a running team, and Kevin Stefanski knows that. Now, he got away from it a little bit tonight, and that bothered me a little bit. I'm looking at the stats right here. He had 38 passes, Baker throwing it 37 times. I think Odell had the other there for him, and then only being able to run it 33 times. So almost a 50-50 split there for us. The best way that we know how to play football is by running the ball at least 60% of the time. If you look at the previous 3 wins other than today, it's been pretty consistent. 60% of the time works every time, as what they like to say in Anchorman. And I am a total fan of seeing, Nick Chubb. Obviously, he didn't play tonight, but Kareem Hunt, I mean, he did back in 2017 lead the NFL in rushing with over 1,300 yards that year. We know we have a stud workhorse as our number one, and he's been playing the Duke Johnson role as like what you said last week. Mm-hmm. Now he has to step up and be the number one. He only had 20 carries, and that bothers me a little bit because you saw in the second half he was breaking off a couple of runs. Yeah. I mean, they're not 30, 40-yard runs, but you give it to him enough times, it's gonna work. So, and I mean, we saw that happening. And Dearness Johnson broke open the game on the very last drive there for us, and that's what sealed the deal. Was his run, both of their runs. I think Hunt had the first play of that last drive, getting 10 yards, and then he goes out. A couple plays later, that's whenever Dearness goes for 28, sets us up with a field goal. Boom, end of the game. And that was it right there. That's how you win these games. We saw a lot of, Baker worried me a little bit. Let me put it out there like that. Great first half. He looked fantastic that first half. But it did bother me a little bit to seeing him throw out there, and he looked uncomfortable. I mean, he got hit hard on a couple of plays.
He got dropped on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Hard as well, and when he tried to throw and almost got picked off a third time on the second to last drive, he was really shaking that arm out. You get worried when a quarterback gets dropped onto that shoulder and that collarbone. Again, as play-by-play and color commentary for CVC TV for some of the local high school stuff, we never try to assume or predict what an injury would be or try to go through anything like that. We let the medical professionals do their work and do their analysis. But that's the injury that you fear because so many quarterbacks go through that when they get dropped on their shoulder like he did.
Yes.
But he did look uncomfortable because the number one defense and that front that was stopping the run so well in the first half and kind of forcing Stefanski to change things up and put the ball in Baker's hand, trusting Baker to do that. And I think that is a big key to this game, though, to have Stefanski still trusting Baker when he hasn't had to throw very much. The running game has been going, and he hasn't really gotten into that full rhythm of the season just yet. Remember, this is the 5th game of the year.
Yeah.
And
no preseason.
There was no preseason, so you kind of went through almost your preseason, the 4 games, in a different manner than normal because the games actually count, and now it's the 5th game, and he's starting to throw a lot more. So you kind of like that he has that confidence in him.
Yeah.
But once they were able to keep Baker in the pocket in the second half and get pressure on him, he looked uncomfortable, and that's an adjustment that a team made at halftime that now Stefanski is going to have to make an adjustment to and help Baker make an adjustment to. He's going to have to step up and make an adjustment to, too, because you know who's coming next. Well, you know where we're going next.
Right.
We're going to Pittsburgh, to Heinz Field, to face off against the Steelers. Their defense isn't what it used to be. But
I mean, don't say that. They look pretty good.
Right.
They still look really good.
Still giving up a lot of points. Yeah. What I'm saying is it's not the steel curtain of the past, but when it comes to the Browns, Ben Roethlisberger has our number. And
Does he ever?
And to take that next step as a team that wants to compete for something, you have to go on the road and beat the Steelers, beat the Ravens. You push that Ravens one to the side, not neglecting what happened in that game, but you can't beat them on the road anymore. You got to go to Heinz Field and get this one and really prove that you have changed this culture. It's just the Steelers are going to watch the film of that second half,
Of course.
what the Colts did. That defense can still step up and take advantage of that. Big adjustments coming this week. But you got to let it live for 24 hours, right? You got to
No, you absolutely.
you got to live the classy, the fun, celebrating life here. I'm wearing these sunglasses. I'm going to have to take these off soon.
No,
I
it
can't,
looked pretty dark in there, huh?
I can't watch it.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. And I do want to make this a fun 24 hours. I do just want to throw this out there. I understand, and I am thankful and happy that Stefanski does have that sort of confidence in Baker. And I love Baker. I love Baker Mayfield and what he did, especially that first half. But the moment that we lost Wyatt Teller, and it was earlier in the game, you saw a lot of lost confidence of that running game because you immediately just didn't want to have faith in the offensive line. Chris Hubbard he's a solid sixth guy on your line, a guy that can come in, really play any position. Now, as a starter, he's not great. And we saw that last year. That's why we have Conklin in here now. But the offensive line, Wyatt Teller needs to come back if we have any sort of hoping, chance against the Steelers. And we can put up points. Okay, so I just want to throw this out there before I throw it over to Peter to get his reaction of the game. The Steelers just scored today. They scored 38, 39 points today, something along those lines. The first time in 40 games that they scored over 30 points. First time in 40 games. Like, think about that.
Right.
That's pretty crazy. We just did it 4 times in a row. I'm not worried about our offense other than the Wyatt Teller situation. I truly do believe going to Heinz Field, I think that that's going to be a wake-up call as long as we have Wyatt Teller, because he has been, without a doubt, the best offensive lineman that we've had. And who saw that coming?
Right.
By the way, I mean, he looked a little lost out there last year whenever he played a little bit here and there, but he looks fantastic. Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach, is, hands down, one of the best off-season pickups that we've had, and I'm so thankful that we have him on this team. But in order for us to beat Pittsburgh, we got to be able to run the rock.
Right.
And I know we did it against the number 1 statistical defense, today, but that was without Darius Leonard. Let's be honest. I mean, he is a Pro Bowl player, a fantastic player. We need to capitalize on moments against TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, Joe Hayden, Minka Fitzpatrick.
Right.
They got a lot of stars over there. Now, they do give up some yards and they do give up some points. Yeah, they gave up, I don't have the exact score ahead of me today, but they gave up some points to Philly, and Carson Wentz looked like a bum half the time. Okay, if he didn't have it was like his 4th wide receiver option out there today, looking great, mind you. But if he didn't have him, the game was over. The game was over by halftime, really. I know it was 14-17. Don't come at me. But I know what the score was. But that game was definitely in hand by the Steelers at that point in time. I don't want that to happen to us. I need to see more running for Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson. The dude's earned it. The dude has earned it. That 28-yard run proves that he can play in the NFL. And behind this zone scheme offensive line that we have for the Browns, I'm all for it. Just go out there. Dude looks so quick coming off the line. I love it.
So you tell me he's named Dearness because dude earned it? I'm sorry.
I think we just lost like 100 people.
It's all
watching,
right.
so.
Hey, I'm sure that
he earned it though. He did earn it for sure. So
I can bring the dad jokes just like anybody.
That's pretty good.
little early for the dad jokes, but I understand.
Hey, we've been going for a long time. I know it's the first one, big play, but we've been going for a long time.
For sure.
Kind of going back to just real quick on your point about the offensive line.
Yeah.
Yes, they do have to. They have to be able to establish the run next week, and we definitely want to celebrate being 4-1 for the first time since 1994.
Of course.
I mean, just like Friends debuting that year.
I saw that graphic. That was pretty good.
I mean, you never told me life was going to be this way in 2020. I'm bringing them all out, guys. I'm bringing them all out. You know what? You can just be quiet over there. Brotherly love, right?
That's right.
But honestly, to get back onto this game, I think that Bill Callahan has been so important and impactful on this offensive line, and Chris Hubbard coming in and having success when he's a substitute coming in, that tells you about the coaching too. Just so everybody knows, when coaches use players' best talents to then develop their scheme and their game plan, that's how things actually operate in the NFL.
We haven't seen a good coach here in forever.
We've had a lot of coaches say that they were going to do that, but they have not actually done it. Kevin Stefanski's only told you, we have to go out there and prove it. I bet he's in his post-game press conference right now, just in the same demeanor he always has been, even keel, and that's what keeps this team level-headed moving forward. Yes, you celebrate the win because it's so difficult to win in the NFL, but you have to realize you're moving on to the next week after a day, and you still need to come in for your meetings and all of that. So the work is not done. Nothing has been earned yet. Peter, watching that game, where is your head at now? Only a little over the quarter pole of the NFL season. We talked before the season about, we have a lot of question marks. Where are you now with this team and maybe even Baker Mayfield in particular?
Well, with this game, Baker I thought looked decent the first half.
Sure.
I thought there were a number of passes he had that he was just high, like he was a little off. But for the most part, he was doing really well. I do agree, Nick. I think in the second half, they changed some things up. They got a lot more pressure on him. He wasn't as sharp, but honestly, he had some passes to wide open receivers that
were dropped.
Landry dropped 2 of them.
I'm sorry to cut you off real quick, but I got called out for that because I said that Jarvis had hands of gold. And then he drops like the next 3 passes that come to him. And someone, our buddy Xavier came out at me and shout out X, goes, oh yeah, you just jinxed us. I was like, yeah, I jinxed a Pro Bowl wide receiver.
Right.
Like
it's all your fault.
What I say on here matters to Jarvis.
The power that Nick has.
Right. Yeah. The butterfly effect.
Exactly. So no, I thought, overall I thought it was great. I mean, I always like it when we're up. And
sure.
So when they come up, when they
that's
came
pretty
out,
nice. Yeah.
When they came out and the Indianapolis scored first, it's like, all right, well, okay, then we jumped ahead. So it was nice to see that we were going, and like I mentioned while we were watching the second half, when the first punt we had was in the fourth quarter, I'm like,
yeah, you don't even realize things like that,
right? And I'm like trying to think of when's the last time that ever happened. I mean, someone's got that stat out there somewhere, but I'm like.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy, and I think overall, I'm impressed with what the team has done. Even with the injuries, we're showing that we have some depth, which is great. Because in the past we've had great players, but we've had 1 or 2 great players at this position or that position.
Well, you look at Miles and then who,
Right.
So
right. Well, exactly, and the thing I think I'm really starting to see is that. I feel like we're seeing the start of a culture.
Yes,
like a culture for the team. Because
nailed it.
I feel because I don't know how many coaches have we had in the last so many years. But I feel
let's not go through that. Let's not go through that rabbit hole right now.
But you're right. But I feel like
out the jersey.
It seems like everything is meshing together.
Yeah,
finally,
it is.
I'm excited. It's a little, the announcers on CBS are like, the Colts fans are, holding their breath. I'm like, I'm holding my breath.
Right.
We were only up by, I think we were up by 9 at the time, but I'm still like, I'm holding my breath because I've been a Browns fan for a long time, and I've seen them implode. And
right.
It's just great. It's great. I'm going to enjoy my Victory Monday tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Well, and Peter, that brings up a good point that we kind of touched on briefly last week too, with the Cowboys making that comeback, and some people saying out there that if you thought that the Browns were going to lose that game, you may not be a real Browns fan. Other people on the other side of the coin saying, well, I mean, this is what we've seen. I'm a Browns fan that has seen the story too often. We want them to prove it that they need to actually perform and execute.
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. Like prove my kind of hesitancy to really get behind the win or think they're going to win. This week, I had a lot more confidence that the team was going to finish it off as the second half was going, even as the Colts were making their comeback. The key was that 101-yard kickoff return for a touchdown right after Ronnie Harrison has that pick six. Like they get
Yeah.
right back in the game. You have that 17-point lead, 3-score lead, and automatically the very next play gets dropped down to 2 possessions. But I had a lot more confidence that the Browns were going to be able to finish it off, and that's because they're starting to prove it on the field. We talked so often. The whole message in the offseason for us and those that are just tuning in for the first time, it was about, well, the guys are saying the right thing, and they are, in the national media, they're being, buried again, and it's the typical Cleveland, typical Browns.
They haven't faced anybody.
Yeah. They're 6.
I'm waiting to hear that tomorrow. Sure, they played a 3-1 Colts team, but Darius Leonard and Anthony Costanzo wasn't playing. I'm waiting to hear that one tomorrow.
And this is going to sound a little biased, but that's just par for the course being a Cleveland fan. There's a reason why there are so many shirts and signs and flags that say Cleveland against the world, because it really does feel like there are so many people against us that don't want to get behind us. And not going to get into this conversation because I will go on a rant if I do. But the people that say, and especially someone in national media that we just don't mention on this show anymore, that always says it when they have to take a bad take against the Browns. If it's just specifically against the Browns or even Baker Mayfield,
sure,
it's Cleveland sucks or Cleveland can't do this. Guess what? This city is great. It's not Cleveland, it's the Cleveland Browns, or it's the Browns, or it's the Cavs, or it's it's the specific team. That always irks me. That to the side.
Right.
Getting back in party mode here. the Browns have had to prove it, and we talked so much about how, you can say the right thing, but until you execute, we're always going to be loyal. We're always going to be fans. We're always going to want you to win. We're always going to be there every single Sunday.
No doubt.
What did Mike Polk Jr. always say when he did that famous YouTube clip of the Factory of Sadness? And he said, he's yelling and saying, like, I hate you. Why do you do this to me every Sunday?
Yep.
I'll see you next week.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's that kind of mentality. But in reality, the reality of the situation coming into the season was, no matter what COVID-19 was doing or anything like that, with all this talent, the Browns were going to have to develop and prove that they were on the right track and not just tell us behind the scenes they're on the right track. And guess what, everybody? The Browns are 4-1. They are on the right track, and Peter hit the nail on the head. A culture is being built in Berea at First Energy Stadium, and that's what gives you confidence now week to week, because they're not just looking ahead. They're not getting big heads about it. Stefanski is the culture leader right now, and you got to give credit to Andrew Berry as well.
Of course.
The regime he was with before, kind of stripping the whole roster bare. Then you kind of build it up. You build up the talent. Andrew Berry making the crucial moves. I do want to mention, though,
sure,
in speaking about Stefanski, he did say after the game that Baker will get an X-ray on his ribs. So it was more so looking at the ribs as a possible injury instead of the shoulder in how he landed.
And that is probably the best news that we could have ever gotten. I understand, broken ribs hurt. I've had them.
Yeah,
they
do.
suck.
Oh.
But for a quarterback, probably best case scenario, because you hurt your shoulder, you mess up your your throwing shoulder.
Yes.
Just sit. Just bring in Case Keenum. I'm not saying to do that, but obviously,
if someone tuned in right now,
let's recap right now. Don't put in Case Keenum. I'm saying if his shoulder was that bad, you gotta sit, because the only way that you're gonna get healthy is by resting. That's not the case.
Yeah.
Let's throw that out there. It doesn't look to be the
Right.
case. He can throw on a flak jacket. He's going to look a little bit bulkier. Just throw that underneath the jersey. Hopefully that helps him out a little bit, because he's going to get hit next week.
Yeah, he is.
TJ Watt is a bad dude. Bud Dupree is a bad dude. Cam Hayward is a bad dude. There's a lot of guys.
There's a lot of OHIO that has moved over to the unfortunate black and gold.
Unfortunately, but we're starting. We got Denzel. We're picking up a couple here and there every once in a while now. We never used to. Let's throw that out there.
2 hours down I-71, and you
Maybe
don't.
this guy could have got there.
Yeah, best talent in the world. Let's go to the Pac. Let's go to the Pac-12. Cody Kessler. Why not? That being said, I did want to say this. Brett Bolin, shout out. He wanted a shout out, so There you go, sir. Anyways.
All right.
You're right.
We may do a shout-out segment now.
We might do a shout-out segment, first show. Why not? But getting back to the game here for it, I am really happy about the way that this game ended because they closed it out. They didn't back themselves into a win. They went down. They got the field goal that made it 9 points, which made it, as impossible of a chance, besides, the Atlanta Falcons screwing it up,
Right.
Some sort of, miraculous play like that happening, which obviously didn't happen. We won this game.
Right.
And I want the national media to know we won this damn game against a damn good opponent, against a really good defense, the number one statistical defense, and you still dropped 32 on them. Really, you dropped 30 on them because you got the safety from Phillip Rivers, and that's my favorite play. That's my favorite play of the night.
Right.
I'm not going to lie to you. There were a lot of really good plays out there today, for our offense. Myles Garrett sacking on the defense. Myles looks awesome. He is Defensive Player of the Year material right now. Nobody can stop him. And I know he was going up against, some rookie offensive lineman, but he gets paid too.
Right.
But Myles got to eat. Man, Myles was hungry tonight, and I love that. And I can't freaking wait until we play against the Steelers next week. I know I didn't want to get into it right now because I want to focus in on this win, but I want to see him hit Ben so freaking hard. I want Ben to cry next week. I'm looking at you, Myles. I want you to make Ben Roethlisberger cry like a little girl on the field. Please, God, hit him as hard as possible.
What is the percentage right now on Twitter timelines of that GIF of him?
The Dwight Schrute.
The Dwight Schrute shredding of the picture of Ben Roethlisberger. I bet that's like all over the place.
I hope it's 100%.
If not today, I'm sure by tomorrow or Tuesday after Victory Monday.
I was going to say Victory Monday. Let's get through it, and then we'll start talking. Yeah.
Twitter timeline will be full of that. I actually almost bought the Jurassic Sack shirt from GVR.
That would have been a good one. I saw what you got that.
I broke out the new one. I don't know. It's just something.
I like it.
It's Cleveland fan for life.
Hell yeah.
It's, I know that Brownie the Elf is more of a skeleton, but that means
bad to the bone sort of thing.
As MGK says, CLE till I die.
That's right.
But I go CLE till I die and beyond. So,
it's
always about the land for us here at Voice of the Land. Now, I do want to kind of look at this game a little bit more, and we've kind of been tinkering, maybe getting some graphics for your Baker love meter.
Yes.
But on the scale that we're using, is it a 1 to 10?
So going into this week, last week it was at I believe it was an 8 or an 8.5.
Yes. Where is the Nick Paulus, or CLE_Paulus, to give you another Twitter shout out? Where is the Nick Paulus love meter with your apparently best friend that we found out a couple weeks ago,
best friend
too,
in the world,
Baker Mayfield?
My best friend. Yeah, we're week-to-week relationship. No, he's doing a great job. And without the two interceptions, he's still throwing too much. Like, that's something Stefanski needs to pull back. 37 attempts tonight. I don't like that. 25 and under. I told you, last week or the week before, 25 and under, 60% of the time running the ball, we're going to win 90% of our games because we're that dominant of a rushing attack in that great of an offensive line. The plays were there to be made, though. Right. And I understand, Baker's, going to have a percent 21 of 37. So that's 56%, something along the lines of that. That doesn't look great, but Odell dropped a pass. Jarvis dropped a couple. Hooper dropped
they were
one.
Key. Jarvis dropping those two were big keys.
They were big plays, and he would have gained. He ended up with 21 of 37 for 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 sack, rating of 72.7, 73, which is about average. That being said, Baker probably would have been closer to probably 270, 280 maybe, which is a good game. I mean, compared to what he's been doing the last week, he had 165 yards, but he didn't need that many.
Right.
Today he needed it because the Colts told him, hey, we're going to stop the run. And Kareem had 20 carries for 72 yards. He broke off one for, it was a 10-yard run. Dearness once again had the 28-yarder. So, I mean, that's where we ended up. We ended up with 124 rushing yards, which is pretty good, but we were coming into this game, we were averaging 200. 204 to be exact.
Can you give me Kareem's stat line once again? Just like total stat line, maybe if you got it in front
Sure,
of you. Because
yeah.
I think I'm playing someone that's across the table from me right now, that's socially distant from me, but still in fantasy football.
He ended up with 20 carries for 72 yards,
Okay.
3.5 yards carry, 3 catches for 21 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, solid game. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kareem did great. And I like what Stefanski did by giving, I just want to see more carries. And maybe not so much out of Kareem because you want to give him, he was cramping up at the end of the game.
I know.
But
I always got a
D'Ernest-
side eye on fantasy football.
I know. But D'Ernest earns his carries now. I truly believe you give him Janovich, the fullback, you let him run behind there. I'm not saying that you won't be able to tell the difference between him or Nick Chubb, but he's a good football player. Back-to-back weeks with the limited amount of carries that he's gotten, he's proved it. He's had close to 130 yards over the last 2 weeks. That is something that you want to see done more often. This offensive line is a masher unit. Best way to put it. Yeah. They are some hog mollies, and they can knock people out. And if we get Wyatt back next week, sky's the limit. Really is.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I just want to throw this out there. I want to know who your guys' MVP of this game was. I'm all hyped up right now. I'm sorry. I am just.
See, I was thinking about that, but I kind of want a little bit, I'm going to think about it just a little bit more. I actually, because I see Peter thinking over there, and because people can't see him. But like behind
we're gonna need to get a third camera in here.
That's all right.
Peter doesn't want to be on camera. There's a reason why we say behind the proverbial glass, because you can't see Peter and he doesn't want to be seen. He's only heard, but he is the one that makes this show go. So we can't thank him enough.
I'm right there on the graphic. That's all you.
Right.
That's all you gotta know.
The old guy right in the middle,
Pretty much.
That's what he called himself before. So when we had a couple different options for graphics.
Rude as hell.
He said he's the angry old guy. That's what he called himself.
That is true.
I'm using his own words against him, you know. So don't look at me like
that's
that.
not against me. That's exactly what I said. I stand by it.
Yeah.
But Peter, your stance on Baker, where are you at right now? Because I saw kind of the wheels turning in the head there as Paulus was giving his great love for Baker again.
Well, here's the thing is, and I've told you this before, is that when they drafted Baker, I was not a fan because of when he tried to plant the OU flag.
You're still hating on that. Okay, I got you.
It's still rough. But the nice thing is, especially this year, I'm starting to see that swagger come back.
Yes.
And it's a lot easier to take when he's on your team.
Yeah.
And so, do I wish he was a little taller? Yeah.
A little bit more of a baller.
A little more of a baller. Right. But
no, so that joke goes over well, but mine are okay.
Well, but I'm definitely happier that we, picked him over like Sam Darnold. So, that's I'm warming up a lot to Baker. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he can get better. And I think as our offensive line continues to get better and the blocking gets better for him, I mean, he's got the weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like I said, we have a culture now where I think you're right. They're starting to take a look at the talent that we have, and actually they understand, the coaching staff understand how to use that talent.
Yes.
Finally.
Finally. And so I'm excited. I think I hope he's here for a long time. I hope it's a long winning, culture that develops in this town finally.
Baker is the leader that this team needs, and he's becoming the leader that we wanted him to be last year when all of that talent was presented to him.
Yeah.
And now he is put in an offense, and again, another player being allowed to use their best skill set. Where is Baker best? When he's throwing the football, rolling out to his left, rolling out to his right, the bootlegs, moving the pocket for Baker Mayfield. That's what Drew Brees, a guy that's of similar stature. Russell Wilson even at times. I know Russell will stand in the pocket more times, but he is still rolling out and able to get out of the pocket and even gain yards on first downs. Baker had a key pickup on first down for 17 yards.
Yeah.
Just taking what the defense gives him. That's what this team is asking him to do. And he's also becoming a leader. You see him go over to Jarvis, OBJ, Kareem Hunt, the offensive line. You're seeing those typical sideline shots on TV that you've seen from the good quarterbacks, good to elite quarterbacks for so long of watching football. They are continuously talking to their team, keeping them in it. If the team is down, they're picking the guys up. They're telling them, look, hold me accountable. I'm not playing well enough. We're not playing well enough, but we can still do this. That's what the good leaders do. When they're up, hey, we got to keep our foot on the gas pedal. We got to keep going after it. We found what works. They're adjusting to us. Let's go do this, this, and this now. Like those types of leadership qualities that you don't see in a stat line, you don't get to hear unless they're mic'd up. You don't get to pay attention to or get that full essence of all the time, and it's not going to show up in any sort of stat line. That's the Baker that they need. That's the element of Baker that needs to add to the guy that can throw the football, can run the football, and does accumulate stats. And, you know, maybe becoming more of an option in fantasy football, like that kind of stat line.
But that's something that we don't need, though.
That's
we
what
just
I'm
need
saying.
that leadership.
That's
Okay,
what
yeah.
I'm saying. He can accumulate all the stats he wants.
Sure.
The Baker that we need is the leader that he's becoming.
Okay.
That is what they're going to need for the rest of these 11 games. Hopefully the X-rays come back in a good way. We'll pray for that injury as well. But Baker is becoming the leader this team needs, and that's not going to show up. That's not going to be talked about in the national media. And you said the national media needs to give the Browns credit for this win.
They absolutely do.
Sure. But if they don't, I could care less. I could care less because I don't care if Stephen A. wants to go yelling into a mic or Max Kellerman.
Sure.
That's not going to be us. That's for sure.
No.
Our main goal of this whole thing is to change the game back to just being sports conversation.
Of course.
If it gets heated, it's heated for a reason,
Right.
not just to get ratings and get people to view us.
Sure.
If you tune in, we appreciate you. If not, if you find other things or different content for you, that's fine. We are totally fine with that.
You're wrong, and we hate you. So,
all right. Well, you thought I lost 100 viewers. You just lost
Right, yeah, there we go.
300. But Baker is the leader this team needs.
Sure.
So we will go around the table quickly as we kind of wrap up this game, and I am just enjoying this so much, guys. I am really enjoying all this, and I've had my uncle in town from Atlanta, and going to be celebrating Grandpa's 95th birthday coming up on Tuesday.
Happy birthday, Grandpa.
World War II veteran as well, so I want to give him a shout out as well.
Salute. Yeah.
But my Uncle David from Atlanta came up, and he's going to be kind of hanging out with us until Grandpa's birthday. We've been talking a lot about the Brian Sipe and Bernie Kosar era, the cardiac kids and stuff. It's something I wasn't alive for, but knowing that when this team is good, when the Browns are good, what the city of Cleveland can really be like as a sports town and as a football town. And I'm just loving where this train is rolling right now. As we go around the table, Paulus, you mentioned it, MVP of the game. Who is it?
Ronnie Harrison. Without a doubt, Ronnie Harrison.
Yeah, 23 can go away.
Injecting Ronnie Harrison into this lineup gave us a pretty big help out there. I mean, it obviously, had the pick six for the pick six there for
Did
us.
get evaluated for a concussion.
He did get injured, and then as soon as he goes out, Sheldrick Redwine steps in his place. Takes over. Takes a interception there for him as well. So I loved what we were doing out there in the back end. Did Phillip, start picking us apart a little bit, little by little? Yeah, that happens. That's Phillip Rivers for you. I mean, he's not going to beat you deep anymore. It's these little dink dunk, sort of routes and everything like that. So I wasn't too concerned about what Phillip was going to do. I was a little bit more worried about what Jonathan Taylor might do. The defense did a fine job today. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they did actually a pretty solid job. Were they bend but don't break? Yeah. I mean that's your typical Cleveland Browns defense. But they held on to it. They did a good job. Once again, Harrison looked good, and I loved him flying out there. He only had a couple of tackles, a couple of pass breakups, but once again, that INT, for the touchdown. huge,
Yes.
huge play. And that's something that we don't really have. Like, we drafted Grant Delpit for that sort of reason,
Right.
to be that center fielder, to do everything that we were kind of hoping for. I'm looking forward to getting Delpit back next year, but getting Delpit and then
We
Harrison.
moved on from next week to next year.
I understand. We're jumping around a little bit, but looking at it from that standpoint, Harrison and Delpit in the future, that could be a really good combination there for us.
I mean, we are definitely missing what Delpit could have brought.
Sure.
And what he brought to LSU. I know he dealt with injuries last year as well, so you hope that that's not a
trend.
It's one of those things where we say it all the time, best ability is availability.
Yes.
You hope that's not something you have to talk about with Delpit moving forward.
Right.
One of our friends, Gerard Cherry, a 3-time Super Bowl champ with New England Patriots, and of course he does the next level with another friend of the show, Emmett Golden, on 850 ESPN Cleveland. He's always talking about once the injuries start, they don't stop.
Yes.
But that's more for the guys kind of getting on in their career, not early on. So you kind of hope that this is kind of, get them healthy, get them 100%, able to get going in the game. Peter, MVP of today's Browns win.
That's a tough one. I don't know if I could pick an MVP. I think there were a lot of great plays. I agree, Harrison, with that pick. But Red Wine coming in with the pick right off the bat, was fantastic. But the one thing that sticks out of my mind is, how about that block by Higgins?
Yes.
Because that
Good point.
That block by Higgins,
That sealed
it. That was legit.
Yes.
I mean,
that
sticks with me. So but I think really just the whole team is seems to be gelling so well that for me, it's hard to pick an MVP of this one. I think there were just too many good plays and nothing.
like no one's standing
Right.
out, but it was a team effort.
But how about Cody Parkey? I mean, dude's
been solid.
Yeah.
Gave us almost a heart attack. He tried to go double doink like he did with the Chicago Bears in that playoff game a couple of years back.
Yeah, but
he tried doing that, and you saw Miles' reaction at the end of the game, just like, whoa! He was thrilled about that. So,
but he got it, so I'll take it.
Hey, we'll take it for sure.
I mean, my MVP actually would be Hollywood Higgins because he's a fan favorite, of course, but it's because he has the chemistry with Baker that Baker is still developing with OBJ. He does have that chemistry with Jarvis, and Jarvis would have been my MVP had he not dropped those 2 key pass plays. And before we came on, Paulus, you mentioned that you wanted to see the Browns run it more. Those plays are basically run plays right there. So
they were shorter.
It's a very shallow cross, and it's 1 or 2 yards, and then he has grass in front of him. They're blocking like a run play for a playmaker to go make a play, and making kind of rookie mistakes there, putting his eyes upfield, seeing the green grass, and getting ahead of himself.
Yeah.
But we're big fans of Jarvis. We always say bless him anyways. I got all my fantasy teams called bless him, so
right.
I love my GVR with bless him shirt too. But but Hollywood Higgins would be my MVP because he started to make those key plays, and Baker able to get that second touchdown, and you saw it, and they even said it on the broadcast. When they split a running back out wide, they're usually looking inside. And Higgins runs great routes.
He does.
He is an underrated route runner, especially when they get down in that red zone. He is a red zone threat because of how crisp he runs those routes. But also in the run game, as you just mentioned, Peter, that block that we saw to seal on the run to seal the game.
And just to throw that out there, we have some of the best wide receiver blockers out there because Jarvis and Odell both are hell-bent on knocking people out.
You see
and
OBJ?
I love it.
Did you see OBJ boxing out on
Absolutely.
that Baker run? Yeah.
Just like this. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But again, it's something they're saying in the media that they're not just saying, they're being about it. They're not just talking about it, they're being about it, which is what we wanted from this Browns team. You hear Jarvis and Odell say they want Nick Chubb and now Kareem Hunt to be leading rushers in the game because they want to block downfield for them. They want to be the leading rushers. And a play like that for Higgins to come in when he's been inactive so many times this season and hasn't, not high up the depth chart, making an impact when he gets an opportunity so he stays up on the depth chart, showing Kevin Stefanski, this is what I can do when the bright lights come on Sunday. and we start to get close to a Sunday night game, a big-time game and a big-time spot on Sunday, this is what I can do. This is what I'm about. And if that matches what you want to be about as well, Coach, I'm here for it, and I'm ready to go.
Roll out the red carpet. I mean,
I love that celebration.
Right, dude. I love everything about Hollywood because he is one of the hardest workers out
Yes.
there. He really is. And it doesn't show all the time
Yes.
because just the way that some of the lineups work, you can only carry so many people on game day. So I understand that. But Higgins is a solid option. And once again, he's always had chemistry with Baker,
Yes.
going back to his rookie year. It never happened last year. Some sort of grudge or something like that between him and Freddie. I don't know. But he is every opportunity that he gets, he dominates. And that block shows it. It shows that he wants to, he's not just, a catcher of the ball.
No.
He can go out there and he can put someone down too.
Yes.
So I like that option as well.
Yeah. So, Browns fans, enjoy your Sunday night. Enjoy victory Monday. Cleveland Browns are 4-1 and not stopping there. I know that they are ready and raring to go for Steeler Week. Pitts puke it is that we got to go after. If you really want to prove things and you keep getting talked about being said that you're not beating anybody, you want to prove it? Well, guess what? You get another opportunity presented right in front of you. You went on the road to Dallas in quote-unquote America's team in Jerry's world. You got the win. You faced a team that was above 500 this year. First time getting a win against a team above 500 this year. You proved it there. People still want to talk down on you. You go prove it in Heinz Field, and you beat the Steelers. That's what it is. And we're going to be here every single Sunday night, most of the time at 7 p.m. with the 1 p.m. games the Browns usually play for live reaction. And we will soon have a call-in line for everyone to tune in for. So soon we will have that call-in line. We don't have it now. I don't have a number, so don't try to just go on your phone and put in random numbers and try to contact us. We don't have that phone number yet, but we will very, very soon. So a new element coming to Big Play here where you're going to be able to call in and give us your live reaction as we react to the Browns game as well. Switching gears to finish out the podcast. Got about 10 minutes left here this evening. Show goes fast. Even when it's
really
live,
flies.
it goes
is
fast.
Flying tonight.
We could talk Browns, we could talk sports all night long, but do want to switch gears. NBA Finals are going on. Lakers lead that series 3-2, and currently, according to my ESPN app, with 4 minutes left in the second quarter, Lakers lead 50-32. It's actually 51-32 because I got the live
Just updated. Yep.
the live. Well, actually, I have the live preview going on. I'm actually watching it as we
nice.
speak. I have the. I guess
Multitasker.
I forgot that I logged into ESPN Plus. Like I have ESPN Plus. Sometimes I forget that. Like they got so much good content out there. I forget.
Really good stuff.
I forget I have that. I'm gonna have to do the bundle though. I think I need
You
to get the bundle.
You haven't done the bundle?
We have all three, but
But you're doing it separate, so you're paying three different accounts?
Because when I got unlimited from Verizon, unlimited data, they automatically gave you the Disney
the 1
Plus.
year,
Yeah, they gave you the 1 year Disney Plus. So that's coming up in November.
Yep.
And already had a Hulu account. So it's just the cost for
Just
1 year.
redo it, yep.
Yeah, once I redo it, then it'll actually be less expensive. Right now, I'm got the less expensive.
Sure.
Gotta save that pocketbook, man.
No.
You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saving for.
Oh yeah. No, you got a dum dum da dum 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 da dum. Yo, yeah. No, you got something coming down the road.
I got that. The ring got to come first.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Save up.
Yeah,
that's all I'm trying to say. Yeah, save up.
Trying to save up. I'm trying to
Right.
try to do things right. And she's watching. She already knows, anyways. She's asking me already. When are you? When are you getting the ring?
Yeah, when you doing it? When you doing it?
But yeah, the Lakers are up 51. It is 51-34 now in the second quarter. Game 6. The Heat. Jimmy Butler, man.
That dude.
First of all,
he's a dog. He is good.
Who's that guy? Froggy Fresh or something like that had that song that Jimmy. LeBron, you're great, but Jimmy Butler is your father. Did you guys ever see that?
No, I've heard of something. I didn't know who sang it or who.
I don't know what his name is.
Who knows?
It's the dumbest thing. People were playing it. The people that still want to hate on LeBron because he left again. They were playing that after Game 5. We already knew Jimmy Butler was a dude, that dude.
He was.
He's
still is.
He's one of the best two-way players in the league. Guys.
Absolutely.
He can defend, and he's got the mid-range game, and he can get to the bucket whenever he wants. You're still going against the king, but the Heat are a team. They have a great culture down. We talk about culture. The Miami Heat organization has a great culture.
Sure.
Yes, they won those championships with LeBron, Wade, Bosh. Those guys still had to learn to play together.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Spoelstra had a big task in front of him, and he was a lot younger as a coach then.
He was a lot younger, and everyone thought that he was a bum of a coach, and, LeBron led the team. Spoelstra is actually a really good coach.
Yeah.
And he's been consistent, all throughout these years. The 10-plus years he's been doing it.
Yeah.
He's a solid coach.
And people thought Jimmy Butler was the problem in Philadelphia.
Mm-mm.
He's not the problem.
There's a lot of other problems in Philly.
The process is being postponed for
Needs
other
to be
reasons.
Reevaluated.
Yes, reevaluated is a great way to say
Yeah.
that in Philly. But the Lakers are leading right now in Game 6. Do they get it done tonight? Does LeBron get number 4 tonight?
Going into this game, I really thought that Jimmy Butler was going to produce, because I thought AD, I knew he was going to play. He was going to give it a shot. But had the Lakers gone down a little early, big early, probably it was going to be the Heat, force it to a Game 7. LeBron's not losing Game 7. I want to throw that out there. If it were to go to Game 7, LeBron's not losing Game 7. That being said, 52-34, I know it's still early. I mean, there's still 2.5 minutes left in the first half. But
Right.
LeBron, just reading from the stat line, LeBron looks to want to take this one home and just go back to L.A.
Yeah,
get out of the bubble and go home. I mean,
he really wants to go home. That's not a problem.
How can you hate on that? I mean, he's been in the bubble. He's been in Orlando for 3 months. You're essentially living in a swamp for 3 months. I'm going to pass on that.
When I understand some families have been able to come to the bubble, but that's
Sure.
that's like the players.
It's not the same.
Those are the players and coaches that are just starting a family. Like they have young ones that aren't really in school yet. Like LeBron started his own school. He's going to make sure his kids go to school too. If he's going to be about education, he's going to want to have his kids going to school.
Of course.
But he misses them. He misses his family because that's what
Who wouldn't?
And those that were complaining about and trying to bring up the argument that LeBron's not elite because he made that pass instead of shooting it. First of all, reality check time, everybody. Welcome into Kevin's reality check corner, where you get told exactly what's going on. It's okay to have opinions, but when your opinions go against fact, that becomes a problem.
Right.
So, my basketball coaches always told me, when you get double teamed, someone is open. So let's take that scenario and move it to being triple, quadrupled, or whatever 5 players are around.
Sure.
I don't even know what that word is, but if someone knows, let us know. If there's 5 guys around you, that means 4 other people in the court are open, and LeBron has always said he is a pass-first guy. He's always astonished when he is told, you passed Michael Jordan on the scoring list. You passed the late, great Kobe Bryant. Prayers, Mamba forever to Kobe Bryant. You passed the late, great Kobe Bryant on the scoring list today. You're in the top 3. He's like, what? For a guy that just,
let's be honest. He knew he.
I know.
Right.
I
he
know.
knows where
part
he's
of that,
at.
and again, reality of that is part of it is being played up. But he has always said, and he's always been genuine about the fact that he is a pass-first guy. Like, he is going to pass the ball. And when you pass to a guy like Danny Green, who had great, yes, he was a former Cav. If you didn't know that, you may want to check your Cavs fandom.
Right.
But Danny Green, a Spurs great, and helped Toronto win that championship against the Warriors last year because he's proven it on the big stage and making big shots. Wide open 3. Got to knock it down. That's the right play.
No, 100% is the exact right play. And I have zero issue with LeBron doing that because if you saw the play, there are 4 different, there are 4 different Heat players around him. I mean, he's loaded up.
Right.
A wide open shot for Danny Green. 9 times out of 10, that wide open, Danny Green's going to make that shot. It's the one time that it didn't work out for him. And is it unfortunate? Yeah, because they had to play another game.
Right.
Oh, big whoop. But LeBron still ended up with what do you have that night? Like 40 points, 13 rebounds, like 9 assists.
Yeah,
he's only averaging like a damn near a triple double, for his finals career.
It's like,
and he's been to 10. This is his 10th. and he's averaging almost a triple-double
Yeah.
for it. So people can just back off. I hate the fact whenever people go, oh, well, Jordan had the 6 rings and he's undefeated with that. And then you like take a look at Jordan's stats, and then you look at the stats that LeBron's finals losses, and he's averaging 35, 10, and 9.
Right.
Just to throw that out there. And it's not like he's playing with scrubs 90% of the time. You look at like the 2015 champion NBA finals,
yeah.
Whenever Kyrie goes out, I think it was game 1 or game 2. He goes
Game
out.
one.
Was
It
it
was
game
overtime.
1? Yeah,
It was
overtime at game 1.
Overtime at game 1.
Overtime at game 1. Earlier in the playoffs, Kelly Olynyk took out Kevin Love's shoulder, and he was doing it with Deli and Mozgov. I mean, and he took them to 6, and then obviously the next year they win, and then
Deli was dehydrated that year too,
right,
from coffee,
right, and then the back-to-back finals years with Kevin Durant, that was just an unfair advantage. That's something that Jordan never went up against, and Jordan had some good opponents. I'm not saying Gary Payton's a scrub.
Right.
I'm not saying Karl Malone and John Stockton are scrubs, but if you want to look at the grand scheme of things, I mean, who would you take? Kevin Durant or Karl Malone? Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
easily.
Right.
John Stockton or
you don't have to tell me.
Right. But you understand.
I know.
You understand what I'm trying to say. Like, in I am not a LeBron like. Oh my God, I love everything LeBron. Like, I like LeBron a lot. I'm very thankful for the championship, and like I'm always going to be thankful for that. But they're up 30. They're up 30.
It's already
right
up.
Now. It's over. It's over. As once Vince Carter used to say, it's over.
I mean, he made a good run at it. And looking at the stat line, LeBron's only got 11 points, but he's got his 9 boards, almost got a double-double already.
It's not even halftime.
And 6 assists. Lakers up with just about halftime. 64. 34.
Congrats to LeBron. 4 rings now in 10 chances. He's gonna have an opportunity for more, for more rings, because I do believe that this Lakers team can add another player.
Yes.
The salary cap's gonna start opening up for these Lakers. I'm not saying like I would love everything in this world to see Dame Lillard on that team. It won't happen. But Dame Lillard, could you imagine that? How nasty of a team would that be with those 3?
I think LeBron would even take a shooter like C.J. McCollum.
Don't get me wrong. I love C.J. Ohio boy. He loves the Browns. C.J. Here we are. But I'm just telling you right now, like, I would love to see something like that. I need another superstar over there. And I don't want to hear like, oh, it's bad for the NBA. It's bad for the Kevin Durant to the Warriors was bad for the NBA.
Yes.
If you want to be real about that was bad for the NBA. Let LeBron get a couple more rings. I just want to see that. I would love it if he went 6. Like in 12 finals, goes 6-6, and then he's gonna have the points, he's gonna have the rebounds, he's gonna be number 1 in points, top 5 in rebounds, I believe top 5 or top 10 in assists, blocks, steals. I mean, how could you deny him if he has the 6 rings? Even if he has 5 rings, he's still been to double the amount of finals that Jordan went to. I mean, come on, it's a wrap. Come on.
Yeah, people want to downplay what LeBron does. You know what shoes I'm rocking right now. I'm not picking up my feet.
I know you.
I got my black and gold LeBron 15s. I got the Mamba mentality going because they wear those black uniforms and kind of that Mamba-esque mentality with the black and gold, the gold of the Lakers and the black colorway there.
Yeah.
I'm rocking those because I support LeBron. I'm not a Laker fan. I'm just I just appreciate greatness, what he did for this city to win the championship, to end the drought, and he is the greatest of our generation. He was a role model for me when I was a kid, the guy I looked up to, and I'm just going to keep supporting the guy. Yeah, it was rough when he went to Miami the first time. I had a hard time not watching LeBron, though. Sorry, that's just the truth of it.
He came back, won the title, left. I'm cool with that because you won me my title. You broke the 52-year curse. Thank you for that, LeBron. Like, even people that want to hate on Kyrie, like, dude, you made the shot. Kevin Love, you made the stop.
Oh, I'll hate on Kyrie. Yes, he made the shot, but you talked about KD going to the Warriors being bad. For the NBA, you know what else is bad? KD and Kyrie together, because at least them talking in the media.
It's going to be must-see TV because they are crazy. I love it.
They just spew nonsense. So
I love it.
Get the microphones and the recordings.
It's good
ready.
for us. It's damn good for us.
We got a lot to talk about there.
That's true.
There's always a lot to talk about in sports. There's even more to talk about when guys like that get on a microphone. So
Absolutely.
It's always great for that. Last point about LeBron, just so everybody knows, he's in year 17.
Yeah.
This would be the start of year 18 in a normal NBA season, and he's still playing as if he's in his peak performance. He's still the best player in the NBA. Just let everybody
no doubt.
Just let everybody know. Just let everybody know. If they do win tonight, I mean, it's only halftime. They're up 28. If they do win tonight, congrats, LeBron. I mean, we can't stay on air until they win to make it official. So if they do, congrats. If not, Miami's still a really good team, and they still got that dude. So watch out for that second half as well. But that's going to wrap it up for the first edition of Voice of the Land on Big Play here today. So much fun. We're going to be celebrating Victory Monday, everybody. It's going to be a great day tomorrow. And again, everybody watching out there, you're going to have a chance to join in the show as well. We're going to give you opportunities to join in as well. But until then, until next Sunday at 7 p.m., for Nick Paulus, our producer extraordinaire, Peter Tellep, I am Kevin Arnold, reminding you, as I always do at the end of every episode, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game, and we love you all 3,000. We will see you all next week.